We're well into December and we've not done any festive recipes yet. Let's rectify that. Hi everyone, it's Tash and welcome to another recipe video. And today we are going to be making a pistachio and matcha puff pastry wreath. Very similar in fact to my pistachio matcha puff pastry Christmas tree, which I made a couple of years ago, just in wreath form. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because actually today I planned to make babka, a babka wreath in fact, but when I tested my yeast I found that my yeast was dead. I was really annoyed about that actually. There should have been another 6 months left on that yeast. But anyway, I didn't have time to go out to the shops, get more yeast and then have enough time to proof the bread for the babka, so I just grabbed some ready rolled puff pastry instead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same braiding technique that I would have used for the babka wreath for the puff pastry wreath. The good news for all of you watching this now is this is now a very much simplified recipe because you don't have to make any of the dough yourself. So if you're struggling to think of a sweet Christmas snack to serve your guests, then this might be the one for you. I acknowledge that matcha isn't an everyday ingredient and that I use it quite a lot in my recipe videos and I confess in my day-to-day life, but if you can get your hands on some, it's well worth it. Anyway, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. First I'm going to melt 100 grams of white chocolate and I'm doing it over bain-marie, that's some barely simmering water. Make sure the bottom of your heat-proof bowl does not touch the water. You can also do this in short bursts in the microwave. And I'm also going to add 2 teaspoonfuls of matcha. When I made the Christmas tree I actually sifted the matcha in after I had melted the white chocolate. You don't actually need to do that, turns out. I've done many more white chocolate matcha recipes and you can literally just melt them together and there will be no lumps. And it might be slow going at first, particularly if like me you don't have a microwave, but just keep stirring every so often. Make sure it doesn't boil too much. Make sure that water doesn't touch the bottom of the bowl. And you'll end up with a nice smooth melted matcha white chocolate. There we go, nice lovely matcha white chocolate. Let's switch this off and take it off the heat. Now here I have some ready unrolled puff pastry. And you want the long end facing you. Now I'm going to spread on all over my lovely matcha mixture. Do you like my mini spatula by the way? Got it from Japan in Daiso. We're going to spread it all over, but we're going to leave a little bit of space right at the other end. You've probably spotted that because the pastry is cold, it's actually setting our matcha ganache a bit, which is absolutely fine. You just need to work a little bit fast so that it's easier to spread, because once it solidifies it does get a little bit difficult to spread. Anyway, now as you can see I'm going to start rolling it up from my end all the way to the other end so we have a nice long log. My pastry is melting! This has never happened before. Have they changed the recipe of the puff pastry? I've never known puff pastry to be so gooey. Well, that pastry was very loose. I have never experienced that before, ever in all my years of using ready bought puff pastry, and I've used this same brand before many times as well. So this is obviously going to be too soft to cut now, but I can tell you what you can do if this situation ever happens to you. I'm going to wrap it up like a lollipop. I'm going to put it on a tray and I'm going to freeze it. I'm going to freeze this for half an hour. But if, unlike me, your puff pastry behaved itself and it didn't for some reason nearly go liquid, you can carry straight on to the cutting stage. So I'll see you in a minute. Just before you're ready to bake, preheat the oven to 180 degrees C. Now I've got my frozen log of puff pastry. We're going to work quickly now. Just unroll it. It was annoying that it froze with all the creases, but you know what? I'm not that mad. I'll try not to touch it. There, that's not terrible. Future Tash here, it turns out that from this point my camera actually stopped recording right up until I actually glazed my pastry, so I'm having to do this all over again. This time I'm actually using pistachio paste because I couldn't be bothered to melt more chocolate and matcha together. You can actually use any sweet spreadable thing you like, so Nutella will work, plain old melted chocolate will work, even jam will work. And you can see the pastry has melted again, so yes, it's definitely a pastry issue. The manufacturer must have changed the recipe, so annoying, at least it's still tasty. So I had to freeze it again, but then after that I show you how to cut and braid it, and then we'll go back to the matcha recipe which did record. Let's try that again with it actually filming. And I've checked and the camera is rolling, it better not shut off this time. Right, I've got my frozen log here. As you can see, I used pistachio paste instead of matcha white chocolate. And you can use any spreadable sweet thing you like on this, all works, jam, Nutella, whatever you like, just plain old melted chocolate. Open this up again. Let's work quickly before this silly puff pastry stuff melts again. Right, got it here. Grab a knife, we're going to cut it lengthways. So let's do that now, all the way through. And now, still working quickly, because it's going soft as we speak, we're going to make a cross like this, and we're going to braid it as if it were a babka, so exactly the same technique. Just braid it like a 2-strand rope. Twist, twist, twist. This might be a little bit harder when you use your melted chocolate, because now that it's cold, the chocolate will have probably set just a weeny bit, but the warmth of your hands will make it soft again. Once we got to this stage, we're going to curl it over. Which way? This way. Let's do it this way. Curl it over like a rope, and we're going to switch those ends together like this. Give it a good old pinch. And that is essentially it. Right, let's go back to rolling on the actual matcha one, and I will show you how this one turns out at the end too. I'm not going to bother glazing it because I'm tired and I am annoyed that the other one didn't film, so I'm literally just going to bake this as it is, with a little bit of foil in the middle too, which I will show you now. Not sure how much of that recorded because it shut off all of a sudden, but I'm just brushing the top with some egg that I've beaten with a little bit of milk. We're going to put a ball of scrunched up foil in the middle to make sure we still have a hole left. And we're going to sprinkle on some raw pistachio slivers, just a few. We're going to add a bit more later when we come to decorating it. Now we're going to bake this for 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes, but I'm not quite done baking it yet. To stop it from burning for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to lightly lay this foil over the top of our wreath that's still in the oven now. Watch your hands when you do it, please. And once we cover it, we're going to bake it for another 15 to 20 minutes. Woohoo! Are you ready for the big reveal? Because I'm not. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Let's have a look. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice! Okay, let's get rid of this little ball in the middle. Tell you what, to make sure we don't ruin any of our work, let's cut around it. Nice. We're going to let this cool down for a few minutes because it's still quite hot, and then we're going to decorate it. We're going to decorate our wreath with some matcha icing. So I've got 2 tablespoonfuls of icing sugar here and a teaspoon of matcha. And we're going to gradually stir in about a tablespoonful of water. This is cold water. There we go, that was probably actually a little bit less than a tablespoonful. Do add it gradually so you can judge what texture you like. I like this thinner, drizzly-ish texture, but it's not too thin. Let's bring our wreath back. It's still a little bit warm, which will make it absolutely delicious when we eat it. And we're going to drizzle this straight on. And now we're going to dot some cranberries over the top. And because I am feeling just a little bit extra, I am going to sprinkle over a few extra of those slivered pistachios. Look at all that detail, I cannot wait to get stuck into that. It smells so buttery as well, absolutely delicious. And here's what the inside looks like, so colourful. Now that didn't go according to plan. Quite often if your kitchen's a little bit hot, then yes, your puff pastry is going to get soft a bit, so you probably will have to freeze it. You'll probably have to do the freezing step, but I've never seen it go really gooey like that before. And I've used that brand a lot of times as well as Marks and Spencer's. That was nuts, but at least you could see how to save it if that somehow happens to you too. I'm going to take a bite now after all that, so cheers. The flavour of the puff pastry is at least still really good, so intensely buttery, and because it's so warm, all those flavours and textures are really coming out. It's really crisp on the outside, a little bit softer than the inside, really flaky and layered. The bitterness of that matcha is going so well with the creamy sweetness of the white chocolate. We've got the roasty toastiness and the crunchiness of those nuts, and a little bit of the sweet tang from those cranberries. So there you go, Pistachio Matcha Puff Pastry Wreath. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video, and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I'm tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too. I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. And for all of you wondering, this is how my pistachio paste one turned out. Also very pretty, even if a bit plain.